Yeah, thank you, Dipti, for a short introduction, and thank you, everyone, and thank you, Josa, for the wonderful session that uh, I learned something for the Azure DevOps as I'm also working with Azure DevOps with this Office 365 and SharePoint implementation. So I learned a lot of things, and thanks for the wonderful information over there. Yeah. So, hello and welcome to the Light Up Virtual Conference 2020, and it's powered by C Sharp Corner and the Tech Platform in support uh, of UNICEF. As you know that in recent days, COVID-19 has transformed our life, and especially for those who are struggling to meet their daily needs, we as a people from the tech are still efficient to work for our companies through various work from home designs, and we are making sure our family and friends are safe during this time. So I'm glad that I'm a part of these events as we are extending our reach to as many as we can by using our technology and the platform in whichever area we are good at. And super excited to be part of this Nobel cause event to raise the fund to fight COVID-19 and help the needy people. So if anyone want to donate their contribution, then this is the information from where you can do that. And I want to thank the organizing team for having me and sponsors for supporting this event. And thanks everyone for joining and investing your time to learn and share new things. And if you have some feedback regarding the speaker, the content, and the event, please feel free to uh, provide your feedback that will help us to improve in all possible ways. So today I'm going to discuss about how human generator for Microsoft Teams can be used, and I will try to explain as much as I can in the next hour or so. Before I jump into that, I just want to briefly give you a better introduction to who I am. So my name is Kirti Prajapati, and I am a Microsoft MVP and working as a SharePoint architect and independent consultant. And I have been doing SharePoint since 2007, so it is more than a decade working with SharePoint now, and work with all the flavors of SharePoint, starting from WSS 3.0 to uh, Microsoft 365. Along with that, I'm a Microsoft certified professional technical specialist, and by trade, I would call myself a SharePoint consultant and developer because I would like to share everything what I know about the SharePoint, Office 365, and Azure. And I have been speaking in local and international community events and conferences as I'm very passionate to share my knowledge in all possible ways. So I'm also even evangelize SharePoint on my own blog as well. And along with that, writing ebooks and providing a SharePoint, Office 365, and Azure training to the corporate people. And then I'm also an organizer of Ahmedabad SharePoint user group and organizing events like Microsoft 365 Global Development Bootcamps, Global Power Platform Bootcamp, SharePoint Saturdays, and yes, of course, we are also organizing the workshops that will help us to like grow the community, the developer community, especially in our local area. As an ambassador of the AOS community, I'm very passionate to grow and build a strong local community for SharePoint, Office 365, and Azure. And if you like to get hold of me, my contact details are over there on the right hand side of the slide. So we can be in touch with any social media platform, and we can share or learn regarding the technology. So as you know that nowadays, the usage and the adoption of Microsoft Teams are increasing day by day, and organizations are looking for Microsoft Teams, uh, Teams extended solutions and capabilities for better collaboration. So they want that something extended which is not out of the box, and they can enhance or increase the collaboration between the team and have some productivity uh, work to be done by the team members. So to develop certain solutions and make it easy to use and available as a centralized solution for the organizations, they have launched that Yeoman generator. So today I'm going to discuss the basics of like why we need your teams, the Yeoman generator, and as a developer community or as a developer, uh, to set up a development environment, what are the prerequisites you need to you should have, and what are the steps to cover up that, and how to use it. Like uh, there are a number of different commands available, and I will explain that through the demo. Right, so these are the basic points that I will going to cover in this next hour or so for sharing my thoughts on why your teams or exploring your teams. So first, why your teams? So we can build teams application using SharePoint framework. I know that most of the developers know about how to use the SPFX SharePoint framework and create the client-side web parts, and we have the uh, ability or the functionality to create a common component which can work in SharePoint, Office 365 portal, as well as the Microsoft Teams tab, Microsoft Teams. But the only thing we can do with the SPFX is we can only develop client-side tabs, right? So there is a limitation that if you want to go with the tabs, then you can use the SPFX client-side web part as well. But using the Yovan generator, we can build a lot of other things which are not available when you are going to use SPFX client-side web part. So specifically, if you have those kind of business processes that might require server-side compilation or rendering, and something you want to hide your business logic, then you can build a server-side and client-side tabs. So that is possible using this EOTeams. For example, SharePoint Online provider hosted web part, and along with that, in the Teams application, we have bots, connectors, outgoing webhooks, and a lot of other things that can be implemented using your Teams. So that is the power of this. It combines all those into its seamless application, and the human generator that scaffolds Microsoft Teams app projects based on TypeScript, Node.js, and Reacts with support for Microsoft Teams tab, that include support for configuring a tab as a SharePoint web parts or a full page application. That also includes the support for single sign-on tabs. And along with that, we have the Microsoft Bot Framework bots. It is based on Bot Framework 4.7 and support for calling audio and video as of now, and Microsoft Teams message extensions and actions as well. So you can we have the ability to configure multiple options using adaptive cards, task modules, static parameters, and it also supports the configuration and settings. So this can be done using your Teams as well. And then we have the Microsoft Teams and Outlook connectors, and the last one is the outgoing webhooks. So today I'm going to talk about how you can use this Yo Teams command and create a simple Microsoft Teams tab, and that Teams tab available in your Microsoft Teams. So let me jump into the demo. Before that, I just wanted to explain that what are the prerequisites required as a developer. So you need to install 3 packages using npm. So you can use this npm install yo, gulp-cli, and TypeScript. These are the 3 package you need to install when you are planning to use Yeoman generator for creating this tabs, bots, connectors, anything. And then you have to install the generator. So for that, you have to use npm install generator dash teams command, and you can use dash dash global just to have it globally in your development environment. And the third one is you can also use the preview version for the latest and greatest feature if you want to use. And for that, you just need to append @preview for that generator dash teams command, and you will have all the latest features available for the latest version of generator. But as of for this demo, I'm not going to use that the preview one. I'm going to use the simple one, npm install generator teams. Yeah, and let's jump into the demo directly. So I have created a folder structure here in my physicals file, and I have created one folder called light up app demo, and open the node.js here. Now I'm going to use yo. Here I need to use the yo command, yo generator command, that will allow me to create my project, and then we are good to go with these. So once I type in yo teams, then it will come up with a few questions that I need to provide all the answers. So first question is, what is your solution name? So I'll go with the default one. Then I'm going to use the current folder, title of Microsoft Teams app project. So again, I'm going to use the default name. Then your company name, so it will take the system name default, so I'll go with that too. Then these are the version that which version you want to go, version 1.5, 1.6 or dev preview. So for this demo, I'm going to use the version 1.6, the default one, and then enter your Microsoft partner ID. So it is optional. So for an instance, we leave blank. Now here, these are the options that we can create using this yo teams. So for this session, I am going to create a tab, so I can select a tab. But if you want to change, you can change or create anything and just use your arrow, down arrow or up arrow, and just select this specific item. So I'm going to select tabs. Then this will automatically create my Azure website URL. You can see that the name of the solution, and it appends with the .azure website.net. So I'll go with that too. Then would you like to show a loading indicator? So I'll go with the no. The best part of this yo teams generator is if you want to add some kind of test framework and initial test cases in your application or the project, you can have that. But for this demo, I'm going to use no, so we will not have any kind of test case over there. Then Azure application insights, so I'm not going to use that too. Then default tab name, you can change tab name from here, but make sure it should not be more than 16 characters. So I'll go with the default one. So it is not allowing me to add, so I'm just adding this like this. Yep. And I'll go with the configurable. So what kind of tab would you like to create? So if we use the configurable when we deploy or publish this app into Microsoft Teams, it will allow us to add some tags over there. So I'll go with the configurable. Then what scope? You need to define the scope to intend to use for your team. So as of now, I'll go with the in a team, not in a group chat. And then do you require Azure AD single sign-on support for this tab? So as of now, no. And do you want that this tab to be available in SharePoint Online? So no, as of now. And now it will start creating or scaffolding this everything and create a solution for me. And once it is done, it will take a while. You can see in the backend it is creating some default folders, prerequisite folders, default folders, files. And once the scaffolding is done, we'll have this successful or welcome message that your solution has been created, and then we can open that solution in Visual Studio Code. So you can see, thanks for using the generator, have fun and make great Microsoft Teams apps. Now I'm going to use code space dot, which will open this solution into Visual Studio Code. Now here I want to explain few more things. before I actually start coding. So just to compare with the SPFX solution, I have created one SPFX web client-side web part as well. So because of this, we'll understand that what are the difference available in terms of the project scaffolding. So in my right hand side, I have a SharePoint framework client side web part, which you can see the folder structure scaffold in Visual Studio Code, and in the left side, I have created the tab using your teams. So the first difference is in this SPFX web part, we have the teams folder, right? So if you want to use the same web part with the teams, then you have to specify here the image, what are the images you want to use. But in the sorry, in your teams generator solution, we don't have that folder. That's the major difference. And in this SRC folders, we have app and manifest file, manifest folder, whereas in client-side web part, we have the web part folder, and under that we have the specific component or the .ts file, JSON file, and SCSS file. So that's a major difference, that we are having the same look and feel, but with different files and folders. So now, before jump into that, I just wanted to brief you a few things about this project structure. So you can see the root folders here in that curl file.js. Yeah, this one. Let me minimize this. So gulp file, this file contains the different gulp tasks that can be modified uh, if possible or if you need, and add additional task as well. And then the another one is gulp.config.js file that contains the constant and settings for the gulp task. These are the default comes when you are creating this solution. And then we have the readme.md file. This is automatically generated readme file which help you to get started. So everything is written over here, what needs to be done when you are creating a kind of Microsoft Teams app or tab solution using your Teams generator. So all the steps is mentioned here, so you can follow that and also create the same application. And the most important thing is we have the .env, the domain. This is a kind of environment folder which contains replaceable strings. So for example, if I want to use the Microsoft App ID, Microsoft App password, then application ID, so you can change anytime. So this is a kind of replaceable container for the strings that will be used throughout your project and make it easier for you to move projects between environments. So let's say, for example, if you want to change the environment from one server to another server, then this environment file will be a kind of base solution to update those string values, key and pair for that new environment. Now another one is the tsconfig.json file. This is a TypeScript configuration for the server side TypeScript component, so you can do that kind of settings over here. Then this tsconfig-client.json file, this is also a TypeScript configuration file for, but this is used for the client side TypeScript components only. And the last one is the deploy.cmd file and deployment. So both files are used if you use automatic deployment to Microsoft Azure, right? So these are the basics or default files comes when we are scaffolding the solution or creating any project. And for the SRC folder, we have two folders, app folder and manifest. So manifest folder contains this two required logos which we had in Teams folder for a client side web part. So if you go to this one kind of, so manifest file contains this information, and the app folder contains the actual code, the files, and files and the script, files and the folders for your application. In the root, if you go to the script, this is the solution name. This is the code file where we are going to change something, right? So in the script file, our logic will be implemented, and this is for the web application. So I'm not going deep into this, and I'm just trying to update the code now. So in the script folder, we have this solution created, and we just open the light up app demo, and I'm just going to change this line of code. Right. So now the question should be like, uh, once we update the things, then how we can build the solution and uh, compile the solution and publish the solution. So for SPFX client-side web part, we are using gulp, uh, gulp build, gulp bundle, and then gulp package solution. So these are the commands that will help us to create the package for any client-side web part. But for this Yeoman generator, there is a slight difference, but we just need to follow two things. So let me open the terminal and I'll walk you through that. So here we can compile the solution or build the solution using two different commands. So first will be the gulp manifest. This will validate the manifest file and create a zip file. So you can see here the new folder is created, package folder is created, and we have the zip file available. Now another folder, another command I'll use, gulp build. Now it will create one another folder called .dist in the solution, and I'll have this build available for me. So let's see. Yeah, so we have the dist folder created for us, and we are good to go now. Now, so to run your application, you use gulp serve command, and this will build and start a local workbench in SPFX client side web part. So the same thing we'll use for here. So and this will initiate this local workbench, and I'm going to use this. Yes. Localhost 3007. Then my tab name. So I will have that tab name from here. Yeah. So we have that information here. So the text I have updated in the render method, it is there, and we have the one button. So this is how it will look like when we open the solution in local workbench. And you can see that if you change something from here, save it, it should automatically reflect there. Just refresh it. Still letting up. So this is how you can update the code and have something for. Now let me refresh it. Yeah, so it is now updated here. So now the question should be like how this is the test in the local workbench, but how this application will be run in the Microsoft Teams, right? So Microsoft Teams does not allow you to have your app hosted on local host, because as of now we are testing this on the local host only. So you need to either publish it to a public URL or use a proxy such as ngrok. So I'm for this demo, I'm not going to expose anything on the public URL, but I'll use ngrok. And the good news is that the scaffolded project has this built-in capabilities. When you run gulp ngrok serve, the ngrok service will be started in the background with a unique and public DNS entry, and it will also package the manifest with that unique URL, and then it does the exact thing as gulp serve. So let me open that. I'm just dropping this Control C. I'm using gulp ngrok serve serve. So here it will provide me a kind of unique ID which I need to use, and then it will create a new Microsoft. After this, we need to create a new Microsoft Teams. So let me open that. This is my Teams, and I'm going to create new Teams. Create new team. Build it from scratch. It's private for now. For example, and create it. And once it is created, we will go to the settings and then update or add the app. So I do not want to add any member as of now apart from me. So we have this teams available with us. Now go to the manage team, then apps, and here we have the ability to upload this custom app. So click on the upload a custom app, and it will open your solution, the file from where you can pick it up. So let me go to that folder first where I have my package file. So select this path, update the folder, then add it. Once you click on add, it will add into your this newly created teams. So we have that available here. Now go to the general tab. Yeah, we have this app available. You can see the light up app demo. So once you click there, you will have one text box just to give it a name. So this is configurable tab. If you remember, we have selected configurable instead of the static one. So it's light up app, and save it. So we'll have the same look and feel which we're having when we executed this gulp serve and executed that in the local workbench. So this is how you can create this kind of simple Microsoft Teams tab using your Teams generator and achieve the functionality or enhance the productivity. It depends like what kind of logic you want to implement. You just need to update that code into your render method, and yeah, you can go from there. Now apart from this, we have one more thing, that the build system, how it works. So when we are generating the project using the Yeoman generator, there are two possibilities, that we can have the client side or the server side code. So the Microsoft Teams apps human generated creates a combined project for server side and client side code. As I mentioned, there are two files, one for this um, there are two files we have for the solution. The client side code basically are used for tabs and configurations for the connectors, bots, and messaging extensions, and typically using a React implementation. And server side code is used for the hosting as well as the server side implementations for messaging extensions and the connectors or the webhooks we are planning to implement. Now, both client side and server side code is written using TypeScript. So base is a TypeScript, so everything is available in the TypeScript. If you go to the app, then all the files are the TypeScript files. So all the logics are available in the TS file only. So that's the base that this solution is using, and the client side code is a standard based on React components and the Microsoft Teams UI components, both like UI components in the sense if you go to this .ts, sorry, this script tabs.tsx. So these are this Microsoft UI component, Microsoft Teams UI component. We have the flags.item, but it is again in the uh, based on the React components. So the server side code uses Express and the web server, and then a set of utility components to load and configure the bots. So uh, using that, you can have these configurable bots, connectors, and messaging extensions, and you can achieve the functionality what you want to use for your Microsoft Teams tabs. Now the another thing is we have the gulp task available. So the question should be like how this gulp task should work in comparison to the SPFX client side web part. So the build system is built around gulp tasks, and all the gulp tasks are defined in the gulp file.js. As I mentioned, we have this gulp file .js when we are scaffolding the solution. So all the commands are already mentioned in that file, and we have number of commands. So first is the build task. The build task will build both the server and client side code. Then manifest task. So manifest task build task will verify that the manifest schema is proper, and it will create the Teams apps manifest file. And then we have the serve task. So the serve task will clean up all previous builds and create a new build and start the Express web server locally, so that developer can debug the running application, and it will also start to watch the files for what are the changes, and whenever the changes found, it will rebuild the application, and if it is required, it also restart the local web servers. And then we have this local ngrok serve task. The ngrok serve task is similar to the serve, as I mentioned when I executed the gulp serve command uh, for this SPFX web part. So it's a similar to the serve task, with the difference that it will use the ngrok setting in the .env file. So we have this .env file. So it will also use this default settings which are available here. So that's the main difference, and it will first generate a manifest file and then start the ngrok tunnel for before continuing the with the same build steps as the serve task. So the additional step is that it has to have this manifest file generated, and then it will start the tunneling for allowing this unique ID to execute into the application. And other gulp tasks are like watch, nuke, nodemon, webpack client, webpack server, start ngrok, zip. So I'm not going to explain on those, but this will definitely help the developer community to understand how the build system works for uh, the human generator. And if you compare with the SPFX client-side web part, so what are the differences in the build or the execution process of this solution? Yeah, and then mm, yeah, so this is a one sample for creating the Microsoft Teams tab. Now another one, you can create the Microsoft sorry, bots, and that could be available in Microsoft Teams as well. But for that, the steps and the process is different because it will ask to create a few things in the Azure portal, and we have to create some services and open that service, use that services application ID, this uh, Microsoft App ID and password, and you have to update this environment file. And based on that, you will be able to get the bot into your Microsoft Teams tab. So that's another thing that I'm not going to cover in this session. But yes, you can use this environment file to update the strings for those kind of application, and you can use ngrok command as well to open that file in open that like allowing the tunneling and open the application or bots into a Microsoft Teams. Yeah, so I think I have covered most of the points which I have uh, prepared for this demo, and yeah, yeah. So let me know if anyone has any questions, then we can jump into the question and answer.